Westminster and St. James are London's most iconic neighbourhoods. These areas are the home of Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament, Buckingham Palace, and more. This area is what many visitors think of when they think of London. The area blends the modern with the traditional and really represents what it means to be English and British. These areas are the centre of government and royal authority in London and the UK as a whole. So what must you see and do in these iconic London neighbourhoods? Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Project Gaia. Today we are in London's Westminster and St. James neighborhood. Now this neighborhood is famous because it is filled with some of the most iconic landmarks and sights to see in London. So what we're going to do on this tour is we're going to go through the neighborhood, explore it a little bit, learn a little bit about its history, and take you into all of the famous sites, and within those sites learn more about them. So let's begin. So when you're in Westminster, you have to visit Westminster Abbey, which is behind me. Now this church is from 960 AD, so it's over 1,000 years old, right? So it has a fascinating history, and it serves as the royal church, so the royals get married here. There also is a lot of famous people buried here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the church and learn all about its history and why it's such an important piece of English and British heritage. So let's head in. Westminster Abbey is one of London's most iconic landmarks. This Gothic architectural gem has witnessed numerous royal coronations, weddings, and significant national events. The intricate stone facades, spires, and statues evoke a sense of grandeur, while inside the Abbey, its soaring nave and beautiful stained glass windows create a serene and awe-inspiring atmosphere. This location is significant to world history as this is the place where numerous kings and queens throughout history were coronated. This elaborate ceremony marks the beginning of a new era in the UK and has for centuries. Several famous people from history are laid to rest in Westminster Abbey, including many royals, whose influence have quite literally changed the course of world history. Besides royals, there are several famous thinkers and writers who are laid to rest here. Make sure you check out the Poets' Corner, which is an area of the Abbey where some of the most influential writers in British and world literature are buried. Also, check out the cloisters. These Gothic interior corridors are amazingly ornate and allow you to step back into the medieval era through their amazing stone cavernous walkways. Finally, check out the coronation chair. This chair has been used in the royal coronation ceremony for centuries and is quite interesting to see. Now, on the top of most people's list when they're here in Westminster and St. James is Big Ben, which is behind me. So, Big Ben is actually not the name of the tower. Big Ben refers to just the clock itself. Now, there are tours you can actually go up and walk up to through Big Ben, but I think what's so great about Big Ben is it really is such an iconic symbol of what it means to be English and British, and it really is such a symbol of what London stands for. So definitely, walk through here, take some pictures of it, and, you'll get some really good Instagram pics too. There are some good locations. Some are better than others. Like there's a park across the street. Right where I'm standing is pretty good. And then from the river, it also has very good pictures. So take a look at that if you're interested. Okay, the next place you want to see is the Palace of Westminster, also known unofficially as the Houses of Parliament. And it's housed in this beautiful Gothic Revival building behind me. So there's been a building here devoted to Parliament since the Middle Ages, right? So since about 10th, 11th century. This building was constructed in the mid-1800s because the original medieval building was mostly lost due to fire. But what this is basically is this is the seat of government here in the UK. So a lot of people go to just see the building and to see how beautiful it is, but there are tours that you can take. There's guided tours, which you have to book many weeks in advance, where you can go through it and they teach you all about government here in the UK and how it functions and all things like that. You can also do a self-guided tour, which you don't need to book in advance. You can just book the day of, you just kind of walk up and you can go through the building and there's signs and self-guides. You can learn all about government here in the UK as well. There's an audio guide too, so if you want to get kind of that more in-depth knowledge, I suggest using that. So let's head in. Most of the Palace of Westminster was built in the 19th century after a great fire engulfed London in 1834, and the oldest and first section you see is the Great Hall. This is the only remaining structure from the first House of Parliament. It is the location of many famous coronations and trials in British history. Unfortunately, most of the Palace of Westminster cannot be filmed due to the sensitive and private nature of being a governmental building, and this is the only area that is able to be filmed or photographed. But as you stroll through the palace, you can learn all about how government works in the UK. Now, the next thing that you might want to see when you're here in Westminster and St. James is the London Eye, which is behind me. Now, the London Eye is a massive Ferris wheel. It's a newer edition of London. It was commemorated on New Year's Eve in 1999, so it was really built for the new millennium, right? So it's about 23 years old as of this recording. And what's cool about it is you can go up in it, and it goes very slow, right? It takes a half hour to go around, but you get fantastic views all over London. As you stroll down the Thames River, check out Scotland Yard. This is the British version of the FBI or CIA and is the center of government intelligence and police. So the oldest thing in London is not Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, or even the Roman walls. But what is Cleopatra's Needle. The Egyptian obelisk dates back to 1450 BC and was constructed during the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III. In the late 19th century, the obelisk was gifted to the UK and was placed along Victoria Embankment along the River Thames. Now, one place you have to come is St. James Park, hence the name of the entire neighborhood. So it's this beautiful urban park right in the center of London, and it really is so grand. I mean, it has beautiful, majestic gardens. There's people hanging out, big old age trees, amazing flowers, there's bridges, there's lakes. Really is something to do when you're here in London, and it helps you kind of get away from the crowd a little bit. So definitely come here. St. James's Park is a picturesque and tranquil urban oasis in the center of London that was established in the early 17th century. This royal park is amazingly beautiful and offers idyllic views of some of London's most prominent landmarks. Whether you're looking for a leisurely stroll, a moment of peace from the bustling streets of London, or simply to enjoy its lush greenery, the park is a cherished haven for both Londoners and visitors alike. St. James's Palace, located within the park, was built by King Henry VIII in the 16th century and has played a significant role in the country's royal history. The palace is no longer a royal residence, but serves as the location for various ceremonial and official events, including the announcement of royal births.
It is also one of the locations in the changing of the guard ceremony.
So here we are at Buckingham Palace. Now this is the royal residence of the royal family when they're here in London, right? So they don't live here most of the time. Most of the time they live in Windsor Castle, which is a couple miles west of the city. But when they're here in London, this is where they live. Now, you can see the changing of the guard. We didn't get it this day. It's not every day, it's every other day. So if you're interested in that, make sure you look online ahead of time to see when it is. It's usually like 10 to 11 a.m. about 3 days a week. So we missed that. But if you're not that interested in seeing it, it's extremely crowded. I'd recommend going on a day without the changing of the guard because you kind of get more up close and personal with it. But it is definitely something to see, and there are tours of it, but there's no cameras allowed. But it's definitely something to see if you're interested in learning more about the royal family's life.
Buckingham Palace, with its impressive neoclassical facade and attractive and impressive Victorian memorial, has been the royal residence since the mid-19th century. It serves as the backdrop for many significant royal events and is the main site in the changing of the guard ceremony. The palace represents the monarchy's splendor, but also its historical and ceremonial significance, drawing thousands of visitors from across the world every year to its gates.
Okay guys, that was Westminster and St. James. Now I had an amazing time showing you guys some of London's most iconic sites, and it really is something that you should see in your life. Listen guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, share this video with your family and friends, and leave me your comment below. Let me know if there's anything I missed, or if you have any questions at all. Okay guys, until next time, take care. Bye.